All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into Valley News Now. Believe it or not, I'm not coming in here to give you a breaking news update on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's engagement. You can find that story on our website right now, though, valleynewslive.com. No, today we're going to start a recurring weekly segment where we shine the spotlight on Investigate TV. Now, these are programs that get sent out by our parent company, Gray Television, really compelling investigative pieces. We're going to choose one a week to kind of bring to you guys over our digital platforms. This week is a fascinating story to me. It's the story of the deadliest tornado in American history, but it's not that well known. Investigate TV explores the tragedy of this forgotten twister that struck without warning and reveals why scientists say many regions remain at risk today because of weather radar gaps. They have that story and a lot more in this episode of Investigate TV Plus.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Imagine a time with no tornado sirens signaling your family to seek shelter or any sort of network to help keep communities safe.
100 years ago, the Weather Bureau actually had a policy not to use the word tornado in any forecast to avoid inciting panic. A lot has changed since then. A study published by the American Meteorological Society looked at more than 16,000 tornadoes over a 15-year period this century. It found nearly 95% of tornado deaths occurred within a tornado warning area, meaning the vast majority of modern-day deadly tornadoes had advance warnings. Even with improvements in technology and weather awareness, there's much to be learned from the tragic tornadoes of the past.
We begin with that story of America's forgotten twister and reveal new potentially life-saving changes in forecasting. On April 8, 2024, the Great American Eclipse had thousands journeying to southern Illinois, nicknamed the Eclipse Crossroads of America, to witness totality lasting more than 4 minutes.
Totality!
I missed the 2017 one, and I said there's no way I'm going to miss 2024.
The rural region is filled with small historic towns not accustomed to this kind of attention. Towns like Murfreesboro.
It is something that is not to be believed. You have to see it.
While this solar phenomenon displayed tranquil beauty, Murfreesboro has an undeniable history that shows this same sky can also produce a hell on earth.
It was basically gone.
Flashback 100 years, March 18th, 1925. It wasn't a shadowy astrological overlay that had the world watching.
Left Murfreesboro pretty much destroyed.
Known as the Tri-State Tornado, newspaper reports at the time described the chaos.
The air was filled with 10,000 things. A baby was blown from its mother's arms. A cow picked up by the wind was hurled into the village restaurant. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
The National Weather Service says the tornado traveled 3 hours on a continuous path from Missouri to Illinois, then Indiana, with wind potentially exceeding 300 miles per hour. In some areas, the destruction was 1 mile wide. The Jackson County Historical Society is one of the few places that preserves the history of this forgotten twister. Scott Johnson is the president.
Still to this day, it is known as the worst tornado in the history of the United States.
Killing 695 people and displacing 15,000. In Murfreesboro alone, 234 people were killed, the largest single community U.S. tornado death toll ever. Testimonials from storm survivors tell a chilling tale.
Everything was gone, and then it caught on fire.
Marie South Williams was in a classroom teaching when the storm hit.
I got under my desk, and the children all got under their seat. It got so bad, and it commenced to break out some of our windows. I asked and pray.
Williams passed away in 1989, but her rare first-hand audio account is saved in the Illinois State Archives.
Do you have any warning of it, Marie?
No warning whatever. All at once it just hit.
They didn't have any kind of warning because there weren't warnings, nothing like what we have today.
A tornado like that, though, would still cause significant destruction and probably loss of life, but I doubt we would see that number of almost 700 fatalities.
Meteorologist Grant Dade works in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and delivers forecast for the area where the tri-state tornado hit.
Nowadays, we understand all the different variables and shapes of tornadoes, but back in 1925, everybody assumed a tornado was that slender funnel. The biggest contribution would be Doppler radar. We would have seen it forming more than likely before it touched down.
Radar works by transmitting a focused pulse of microwave energy.
And it waits for those radio waves to bounce off of whatever it encounters in its path.
Meteorologist Kevin Scow from the National Weather Service explains it this way.
This happens incredibly fast. The radar transmits this at the speed of light. So the radar is just instantaneous that this is happening. I like to think of radar as like a flashlight. If you have a flashlight and you shine it against a wall, it's very far away. It becomes broader and it becomes dimmer.
Radar has limitations, especially when the beams travel over the curvature of the Earth.
The beam is just higher above the ground the farther it travels away from the radar.
Meaning the radar can't see what's happening below the beam where severe weather can take shape, leading to radar gaps across the country. This map shows the areas with America's best radar coverage in pale yellow. The blue and orange locations have limited coverage, with blue being the poorest. In the areas shaded white, coverage is minimal to none.
The gentleman is recognized.
Before being elected North Carolina's Attorney General, Congressman Jeff Jackson introduced legislation to help close America's radar gaps.
My district, which is the Charlotte area, is in the largest weather radar gap in the country.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is currently planning the next generation of radar systems. Jackson's amendment requires NOAA to determine priority locations for its deployment. Locations that are 75 or more miles from an existing weather radar station would be considered for priority.
This legislation isn't going to just help solve this problem, but it's going to identify a number of these spots across the country.
The House passed the bill in 2024, but the Senate has yet to vote. But this legislation and new radar tech are not the only hopes for improving storm tracking eyes in the sky. Researchers say drones are becoming increasingly useful.
By improving our understanding, we can translate that to improve forecasting.
Adam Houston is a professor of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences at the University of Nebraska.
One of the things that they can tell us is what's happening above the surface in terms of temperature and humidity and pressure within the storm.
Compared to planes and less nimble weather balloons, the increased mobility of drones allows them to better track these ever-changing storms.
What we will do is we'll fly back and forth, and we're hitting the same area over and over again, whereas balloons would just flow through it and they'd be gone. And drones aren't the only answer.
Combining drones with ground instruments and traditional storm tracking methods, researchers are developing a better understanding of tornadoes.
So we're getting a complete three-dimensional perspective of the storm.
When the tri-state tornado hit in 1925, there were no drones or even radar beams scanning the sky, no warning at all, just fear and apocalyptic destruction. A century later, Murfreesboro, Illinois is still on the map, holding not only a grim 100-year-old record,
There were so many lives lost.
but a disaster's lingering shadow that helps us understand what a tornado can do.
It's something that everyone needs to kind of remember.
Even with the latest tornado tracking technology, holding on to the public's trust and attention is critical to saving lives. Professor Houston says false alarms continue to be a problem in forecasting.
A lot of people's perception is that, oh, I wasn't hit by a tornado, so that was a false alarm, right? And so there's no way we're going to fix that unless we make the tornado warning so small that it just covers the track of the tornado.
Houston's drone research is showing promise and providing some of that fine-tuning.
If we can improve predictions, if we can improve observations, if we can improve numerical weather prediction, all those things will improve forecast and increase the probability of detection and decrease the false alarm rate.
A mother's worst-case storm scenario.
The tip of the tornado came down and picked up the bassinet with my baby Lord in it.
The chaos as a baby is swept up in a tornado that hit when many least expect will reveal the seasonal shifts in storms.
Plus, experts say the regions where tornadoes strike most are changing, how this is putting more people and properties at risk. About 1,200 tornadoes touch down yearly in the U.S. They've been reported in all 50 states, but there's an area of the country increasingly being hit.
That's where we meet a mother of a baby who survived being sucked up in a storm. It hit at a specific time of year that is also seeing more tornadoes. Beside the rubble of this Clarksville, Tennessee mobile home,
He was the first thing to go up.
there's a playpen wrapped around a tree, an eerie reminder of what happened here.
The roof came off first. The tip of the tornado came down and picked up the bassinet with my baby Lord in it.
In December of 2023, Sydney Moore's 4-month-old was ripped into the sky.
Thought he was dead. I was pretty sure he was dead and we weren't going to be able to find him.
After frantically searching in the muddy debris, a miracle, baby Lord found alive with just a cut on his face.
It looked like a little tree cradle. He was just laying there.
Her family survived a storm that struck when many least expected. It was nearly winter. The National Weather Service says peak months for tornadoes are April, May, and June. But research published in the Journal of Applied Meteorology says since the 1950s, tornadoes have trended away from the warm season, with a 37% decrease in the summer, while during the same period there was an 80% increase in fall and a 102% increase in winter. Dr. Tim Coleman says there's also been a geographical shift.
The traditional tornado alley of Texas and Oklahoma was correct back 50, 40 years ago, but Tornado Alley, the primary tornado risk area, has shifted to the east.
Coleman says tornadoes in the western United States decreased 25% from 1986 through 2020 compared to the previous 35 years, while tornadoes in the eastern United States increased 12%, and that's putting more people and property in danger.
The amount of damage done has increased because there's just a lot more people. And especially, the Southeast has really exploded in population. Whereas, 50 years ago, a significant tornado may have just mainly hit trees. Now it's hitting subdivisions, neighborhoods, businesses, and things of that nature.
Everything could be taken like that.
That means families such as Sydney Moore's in Tennessee are at greater risk of being in a tornado's path.
You better listen to the warnings. You better stay on top of the news.
A South Carolina driver tried to dodge a storm, then this happened.
All I know is my car is lifted into the air.
One woman's survival story and how it can help you know what to do if you're caught in a car during a tornado. Plus,
I thought we were going to die.
From fearing for your life,
I was tired. Everybody was tired.
To fighting for your community,
so they don't have the same experience that I did.
We'll explore how a town recovers from its darkest day and the emotions that come along the way.
when the tornado warning sirens are blaring, do you know the best spot to stay safe? The National Weather Service says if you're at home, head for the basement or storm cellar. If you don't have one, go into a windowless room in the center of the building.
But what if you are away from home, maybe caught on the road? Reporter Heather Graff shares some life-saving advice.
A tornado can easily lift and toss a car, even at relatively low wind speeds. But there are things you can still do for protection.
All I know is my car is lifted into the air.
This video shows why getting off the road is so important.
I'm literally facing the ground as if you were to go down a roller coaster.
In August of 2023, near Charleston, South Carolina, Malaysia Smoke was driving home from work. She had left early to try to beat bad weather, but she got caught in a twister on the road. Her car swept into the air.
It was a miracle.
Oh my gosh!
The National Weather Service says the best option, if you were ever caught in a severe weather situation like this, is to drive to a building where you can quickly take shelter.
But if it's already too late, the storm is upon you, stay put as best you can. Put your seatbelt on for some stability in your vehicle is going to give you the best protection.
Someone was looking over me.
Malaysia Smoke's car was picked up in just 75-mile-per-hour winds, showing that even a weak tornado can do some damage to drivers.
I made it out of that with no bruising, no scratching, no broken bones. It was crazy.
No scratches even.
Such a scary situation in the car, to think that she just got out of it unharmed.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle,
Yeah.
exactly.
I was wore out.
Bouncing back from disaster response burnout.
I think we kind of established a template here.
How this town's tornado tragedy is now helping other disaster zones recover.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download. Disaster response burnout is a part of storm recovery not often talked about.
The task of rebuilding can tax survivors' mental health and morale.
Reporter Kristen Crowley takes us to a city that adapted and is now thriving after one of the most destructive U.S. tornadoes of this century.
For a town founded in 1873, Joplin seems newer than most of its Missouri counterparts.
It was like boom, boom, boom.
With a modern high school campus next to a manicured football field showcasing Eagle pride.
Progress, just like left and right.
Maintained flower-lined streets.
Businesses kind of being reestablished.
And rows of contemporary buildings and houses. But among them starts to appear a visual reminder of the day that changed everything in Joplin.
Your trampoline, then your swing set was right here.
This is more than an empty lot for the Stout family.
I think you spent the most time rolling down that hill, though.
This is a place that brings back the memories of when their lives were torn apart.
That's where Mom's car ended up on top of.
Their home once stood here until May 22nd, 2011, when Joplin was hit by an EF5 tornado.
The sirens started in true Midwest fashion. My husband went outside to go look to see what he could see. So I yelled at Shane to come inside. And I told him I wanted to drag the mattress off of our son's bed. He rolled his eyes at me because we've never, ever did anything like that.
Under that mattress, the family took cover in a hallway.
Instantly ripped the roof off of our house.
What was going through your head when you saw the roof peel away?
Honestly, I thought we were going to die.
161 people were killed. 8,000 buildings damaged.
And I just remember looking up at one point and just seeing him kind of get sucked up.
I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and he was trying to hold the mattress down on all of us.
When the tornado passed,
it was just mass chaos.
Their home looked like this, but they were safe.
That was my main prayer anyway, was just a protection, like I say, for the family.
Today, it's hard to tell disaster ever struck, but the signs are there. Here at Cunningham Park, you'll find memorials of that day, not just reminding people what was lost, but what was found: strength, resilience, and the power of the human spirit.
There's a 38-segment water wall symbolizing the minutes the tornado was on the ground. These black frame sculptures invoking feelings of what's now missing from Joplin. And this monument that solely reads hope. A simple word that can be a great place for a new beginning.
How does it feel being back?
It's good.
This is where we met CJ Huff.
Things still changing since you left?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Joplin's always been one of those communities that has been pretty progressive.
He took us on a tour of his former life.
This is the new Irving Elementary School. Irving was destroyed by the tornado. So one of these streets, I'm trying to remember, these are all pretty much new homes. If they're not a new home, they're a new roof. Let's take a left and go straight through that stoplight.
This one right here?
with every turn,
It was a mess.
reminders of lessons the former educator learned from this tragedy.
This is where the old high school would have sat.
Huff was the superintendent of Joplin schools.
Did you know anybody, any children who passed?
Yeah. Children and staff both, and you know, a lot of good people, a lot of kids with a tremendous amount of potential. Yeah.
It was graduation day when the springtime tornado hit.
I was hearing from a lot of staff members and community members, will we ever be able to open school again?
Despite several schools being destroyed, Huff and his team set an ambitious goal: reopen for the planned fall start date in August.
We got it done.
After you got the schools open on time, did you think that the worst was behind you?
No, I did not. I was tired. You know, everybody was tired. When I left in July 2015, I was wore out.
Do you think you would have still been in that job had
Yes.
the disaster not happened?
I would still be superintendent of schools in Joplin right now, I think.
He thought he would get back into education.
The more I tried to push myself that way, the more I kept getting pulled back into disaster recovery work, because anytime there was a disaster that happened anywhere in the country, somebody was calling and say, hey, you know, can you help us out?
Huff answered that call,
So I do a lot of coaching for school leaders that have been through disasters and community leaders too.
becoming an advisor to numerous recovery responses from Hurricane Harvey to the Lahaina wildfire.
Trying to support leaders to help them continue to do the job that they love so that they don't have the same experience that I did.
I think we kind of established a template here, one that everybody hopes they don't have to use.
When disaster like this happens, there is an immediate, natural longing for life to return to the way it used to be.
Then right off over here is where the detached garage was.
The way it was every day before the tornado.
And then the fence that came to the backyard.
Storm survivors like the Stout family will tell you it won't.
The storm forever changed you.
Yes, absolutely.
But by facing the fate of unwanted winds of change, Joplin shows there can be healing when you have hope on your side.
I'm very proud of Joplin and what we did. I think that we learned every step of the way.
And that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm T. Chappelle.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
All right, thank you all for joining us again for this special edition of Valley News Now, bringing you a spotlight onto some Investigate TV content for this week. We're going to have more coming up every Tuesday right here on the Valley News Now digital network. But for now, I'm Devin Fry.